Looks like I don't have Q-tip sticks ready, but I do have popsicle sticks, so that'll work. Now remember, with the Gorilla Glue, you don't need a lot. It just takes a little bit. And the activator is water. So we have just a little bit on the stick. And smear it along where we're going to put this. Now I have my bottle of water. Just get my finger wet and wet the bottom edge of the exhaust mount in here. Then when I slide it into position, and we'll clamp it in place so that it won't come loose. Alright, and we'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and do the other one, because that one's going to have to cure for a couple hours also. Unfortunately, it's time consuming. So while that's curing, let me set up the camera angle and we'll go ahead and start installing the fuel ducts. Alright, while the exhaust is curing, I made this template a little while during this week, getting ready for this. It's just thin sheet balsa over a couple stringers with the backing plates that came with my fuel dots. So by gluing them down to a sheet of balsa and building a sturdy framework, I've been able to make sure that when I go to pull the fuel dot out, I'm not going to rip the side of the airplane off. I've also cut the angles here so that it won't interfere with the rounded edges of the cutout on the inside of the plane. So all I'm going to do is use some medium CA. It's a gap filling. It gives me, I think it says 30 seconds to get this in position, and then it's permanent. So, gotta work quick here. As with everything, measure several times and cut once. When I'm making a lot of these templates out of little pieces of stringer or balsa, I like to use, it's a fine grit, I don't know, probably 300 body working for cars. It's got a sticky back end and it's easy to rip off a piece and lay it down on the workbench, and you can just hold the piece and sand and test fit and get it all in there. And now I've got a nice sturdy plate back here for the fuel dots. Now what we do, just like before, you thought you were done with all your monocoat work, cut out the circles for your fuel dots. Now when picking your fuel dot location, you want to try to make sure that your fuel dot is going to be higher than your tank. if you mount your fuel dot too low, as soon as you pull the plug out, it could start siphoning out and you've got a fuel leak. So always try to set them a little bit higher than your tank. And now these can pop right in there. Okay. We'll go ahead and pop our holes for the screws. I know that when I built this, I lined up all the holes. And that'll make it easier to put the screws through with the Monaco cut. Alright, let me get the Allen screw for this. Alright, and then I put just a little dab of CA on the screw so that it doesn't back out. Alright, let me go ahead and get the rest of these done and we'll come right back. Alright, now we have all the screws in there. Let's make sure that we have a good solid plate. I don't want to break a nail pulling these out, so I keep a little screwdriver here to pry with, get it loose. These are kept in with an O-ring and it's a nice snug fit, so you don't have to worry about the plane going through the air with the fuel line flopping about. It's a nice little plug and flush fit. Really good stuff. And it looks like I did a good job with the plate. It's nice and solid. I can pry on it and I don't feel like I have to worry about pulling the Monaco or the side of the fuse off. Now you want to be careful if you're using a screwdriver. You don't want to mar it up or put a bunch of nicks on it. That'll make it a worse fit later. I'll probably come back and lube those O-rings later when I get to installing the tanks. Let me go ahead and set up the camera in another position so I can install a couple of switches and LED for the ignition.